Hello! A few people on YouTube and Facebook asked how I made the comic style drawings for the backgrounds in the advent calendar. And so I'm just going to show you a short tutorial on how I do it. And this is also the same way that I make comics. So I'm using Flash here, and I have a background which is 800 by 600. And I'm just going to draw a single panel drawing of some nature. Although these techniques can be obviously applied to a canvas of any size and for any number of panes. So just for the sake of argument, I'm going to draw a squiggly outline as if I was drawing a pane for a comic book. There you go. So now we have a square, and we'll just name that layer Frame. And on a new layer, which I'm going to call Character, this is where I'm going to draw my dude. I'm not going to spend particularly long on this dude, but hopefully you'll get the idea. Looks like a rooster, but if I was being very detailed, then I would zoom Flash in to do the eyes and detailing, but not that worried right now. I'll just shove some shoulders in, and we'll give him a goofy smile. So, now we have a character, and we have a frame. The last thing we need is a background, which I'm obviously going to put behind the background. So, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that he is on the beach. How about the beach? I left the beach a little way off. And we'll say the sun is over here, and we'll just put a wispy cloud in here, and maybe one closer to the horizon, just here. That'll do. Now, it may look a bit like a confused mess right now, but it'll look better once it's all coloured in. So we'll start off with the background. I like to select the frame layer, copy it, and then paste it onto the background layer, which gives us our frame, but still keeps the background on a separate layer to the actual frame. And let's see, let's make the sea blue. That's a very poor blue for the sea, but we'll just roll with it. And we'll make the beach a very it's a very stereotypical beach. And just to finish the effect, we'll go with a oops, that's the same color, almost the same color as the sea. You know, let's swap that round. We'll make the sea deep, and yeah, there we go. Looks more like a desert. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the eraser tool, and I'm just going to separate where the cloud meets the sea. Now I should have done this on a separate layer in the first place. I'm just going to copy the clouds onto a new layer, Control-Shift-V. bring them back down so that they meet the sea, and just fill in the line following the coastline. Oops, that's terrible. That's better. And what we can do is, if we fill the clouds with, say, grey, we now remove the black outline, select them, F8, create a movie clip, we'll just call it clouds. That's terrible spelling. And we'll shift the alpha at, say, well, 50% for now. Go back to our background, and we'll just fill in the holes where the clouds were. And the sun, which will make a nice bright yellow. And again, just delete the black outline. Create a symbol. And in this case, we're going to put a glow around it. Now those clouds are a little washed out still, so just maybe they're not the right colour. We'll just go into the movie clip and just change that. Yeah, that's better. White clouds. I think we'll just put a little bit of detailing on the sea. And you need to do that just with some black squiggles, or you can pick a different shade of blue. It all depends what sort of look you're going for, really. And finally we brought back to our character. And again, we just select the frame and just paste it onto the character there, bringing us our complete shell. Let's give this guy an awesome red hair. Oops. That is one thing to be noteful of, is to try and find breaks, such as right there and right here. I'll just find a nice fleshy colour. There you go. And this guy's pretty cool, so we'll give him a white shirt. And his eyes. Alright, pretty cool dude. And the final trick that I use is a shadow layer. And essentially all we do there is you take a black layer, shove it down to, say, 50% transparency. I like to pick a thicker brush, and then depending on where the light's coming from, you just draw depending on where the light would be hitting the object. And obviously on back facing you bring the shadow right to the edges, but on front facing you gotta leave a little gap. In this case I'm being extremely lazy. Bam. Instant shading, as if the sun was coming from behind him. Okay, so for whatever reason the audio cut out on the camera, probably something to do with the audio codec. At this point I said, what if we wanted to give this guy some awesome shades? Well, this is the advantage that programs such as Flash and Photoshop have, in that you can put layers on top of other layers. And so on a new layer, I'm just drawing now a pair of awesome sunglasses. I'm just drawing out the frame now, and then I'll fill the frame in with a 100% opacity fill, and then on the actual lens of the glass you can just use the alpha to create the illusion of a tinted glass. Of course, I probably said that in a much more convoluted and drawn-out manner than I actually have said it here, but that is the advantage of having the ability to re-record the audio. And obviously if you think the tint is too dark, then you can adjust the alpha. If you think the tint is too light, then again you can adjust the alpha again. Which is a great advantage of putting all of your different components onto layers. Which is why I advocate putting things on layers. I wouldn't say it otherwise. Or would I?